going dark. Back from the dead is a miracle, doc. They counted me out. Moment of truth, counting it down. Underdog story was down for the count. Back on my feet, back with a mic, back on a beat, back with a family that bang in the streets. The game on lock, I stand with a key. Standing my ground, I am planning to flee. Standing my ground, I am planting my feet. Taking a stand, embracing my destiny, shaking his hand, flipping the script.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Clydesdale Media's Sunday Night CrossFit Talk. I'll get there somewhere. I'm just fresh off the lake. My mind is slowly coming back to reality. But yeah,
Jealous.
had a good time. Carolyne will be with us in a little bit. She had reservations for dinner, and she's enjoying that with Lex right now. And so as soon as she's done, she'll be hopping on as we get into the more important things we're going to talk about tonight, like ranking the 2024 women of the CrossFit Games from 40 all the way down to 1. And I think I'm the only one that's seen all the lists.
Yeah.
And it is, you remember last year we were really similar?
Yeah.
None of us are similar this year.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see like what people think of the lists, what we think of each other's lists, all of that kind of stuff. So while you're here, don't forget, like, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell so you're the first one to know when new episodes come out all week. As we shift from elite athlete interviews this week to we're going to move more into the masters athletes this week. So make sure to check that out. And if you did not see the interview we did with the Fialas on Thursday, so good and so important for what has happened. A mother and daughter both qualifying for the CrossFit Games for the first time as rookies, and it's on the same weekend. So mom was going to forego her rookie year to go be with her daughter, and her daughter said, if you do that, I'm not going.
Oh, man. Good for the daughter.
So the daughter is going with dad to Michigan. Mother and son are going to Birmingham, Alabama for the Masters. And so I'm hoping with behind the scenes, we can catch some footage of her catching the daughter on the live stream and rooting for her, some stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to try to take those backstories, use those to get really good behind the scenes at the Masters CrossFit Games in Birmingham. I'm still bummed because this company was going to forego the elite CrossFit Games to cover both the teens and the Masters.
Right.
And when they decided to schedule them both on the same weekend, we had to make a choice. And Jamie's become one of my best friends, so we're going to the Masters.
I would almost rather stay here in Michigan and less stress, less travel, less money. It is what it is.
Yeah, but it's your rookie year at the CrossFit Games. And with that, how's it going? Training?
Well, I did the Fresh Coast last weekend. So there was a little deload to that. And I took a couple days after. So I just feel like I'm back in that little lull slump. I don't know. Just could be good weeks, bad weeks. Sometimes you feel like you're dying and overtrained, and I feel pretty good right now. So I don't know. Hopefully we get another good, tough week.
Our good friend Sarah Cooper, we've got a 70+ going from my gym to the Masters.
That's awesome. Not many of them signed up.
Yeah. I talked to Lana Marcine at Fresh Coast, and she was not happy with the signups that they got for the 70+. But they have it for this year. Hopefully it's a good enough showing that they will continue that on.
Yeah.
So big hello, shout outs to Valberto, Kenneth, Bruce, Sarah, of course, and Holly, who are all here with us tonight. Sorry.
What's up, guys?
So, this isn't in our notes or anything. I was listening to an interview with Michael Phelps that he was on Pat McAfee, and he talked in that interview, something you said, clicked this thing he said. that he was so psychotic about his training that he never missed a day in 6 years.
Wow.
Never took a rest day in 6 years. Because in his mind, if you take one day off, it takes 2 days to get you back to where you were.
Yeah.
And if he did it every day, that's 50. If everybody else took a one rest day, that gives him 52 days of training that nobody else had.
Yeah.
And I won my one race by 1/100th of a second. And I believe that those 52 days got me that 1/100th of a second.
Yeah, I feel like CrossFit especially is a tough sport to get into that mindset. I was guilty of that for years. I would go 30 days without taking a rest day at all. And I mean, there's so many different variables, so many little pieces. Like I feel like if you're like, oh, I feel beat up, I should move this piece. And then you get to that day and it coincides with something else. It's just like, it's hard. It's hard to want to like trust your body and skip a piece. Because you feel like you're falling behind people because there's so many things you constantly need to be training.
My only thing about this is I hope young kids are not listening to this going, that's what I have to do to be great. Because, Rich Froning said that when he was competing early on, right? That his body just didn't like sitting around resting.
Yeah.
Right? So he needed to go move. And I just, yeah, you needed to move, and everybody's body reacts different. When I was swimming 5 hours a day, and that was through high school and then into college, like my body needed a rest. Like it was whooped up by the time Sunday came. And I think if I tried to go 7 days a week, my body would have failed at some point.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a recipe for overtraining, injury. I mean, your muscles can't grow without the rest day. So
Michael Phelps is a cyborg that just he comes around once in a lifetime. And to try to emulate that greatness is just a recipe for disappointment, I think, if everybody tried to do it the way he did it. You look at Jason Hopper trying to emulate Matt Fraser.
Mm-hmm.
And he has his worst finish ever at the games.
Right.
Like you have to do what works best for you.
Absolutely.
Anyway, just a little side note as something I listened to as I was relaxing this weekend. So we'll go into our what are you watching? How far are you into the bear?
I watched one more episode.
Okay.
I do not have time. I am stressed.
It's tough.
Yeah.
We finished it. We finished season 3.
Oh, nice.
Right before we went on vacation. But we couldn't it took us like a week to get the last episode.
Mm-hmm.
I hate watching the last episode because I know that I just want to watch more.
Right.
And I have to wait a year.
Right.
And that's where I'm at. And this one, the story just no spoiler alert here, but season 2 was so phenomenal, moving the story forward.
Mm-hmm.
To me, season 3 does not move the story forward very much. It's almost like those middle sequels that are setting up the end,
mm-hmm.
and it's setting up like the next season. Yeah. So it doesn't really get anywhere, and you feel like let down from the season, even though everybody's great in it and the story's great. It just didn't go very far.
That makes sense.
So there's that. The other thing I'm totally into is receiver now.
I've seen clips.
Which was quarterback last year.
Right.
Receiver this year. I'm like 4 episodes into that, and I think it's 7. So that's pretty good.
Yeah. I enjoyed quarterback. I'm sure I would like the receiver.
Yeah, it's really, this one is way more people. Instead of 3 quarterbacks,
okay.
5 receivers. And it's funny, they all kind of got hurt at the same time. So it kind of shows you like how rough it is.
Yeah.
And some want to blame the quarterback for why they're getting hurt. Some don't. But your Amon-Ra St. Brown is in it.
Yeah.
And like in the first episode, he tears his oblique from the bone.
Yeah.
And continues to play.
Yeah.
That doesn't even seem feasible.
They're tough.
Kenneth, you are correct. I thought I heard Hard Knocks is doing the Chicago Bears this year. Is that true? It is completely true.
Mm-hmm.
And I cannot wait. The first episode's like August 7th, I think, 6th or 7th. But they're there now. The Bears started training camp this last week. HBO's already been there doing their thing. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out from
exciting.
It. Very exciting. Heard Tyson Bagent's having a great spring.
Yeah.
He had a great spring and coming into the season and like solidified himself as the backup quarterback with like no debate.
That's awesome.
So, and he's been getting some run in the Chicago media because like I'm always looking for Bear stuff on YouTube, and like he pops up quite a bit this year. Just his dad, the whole arm wrestling story, and he always talks about CrossFit as his way to do stuff. So it's cool.
Yeah, I like following him.
It's still disappointing that CrossFit has not used him more.
Agree.
To do some things. So Draw Your Dagger says, let's rank some folks. We're going to get there. We have a third person coming in. Carolyne's on her way. She just is out to dinner with Lex. And as soon as she gets in, we'll get to the fun stuff. But one thing I wanted to pull up is last week we talked about why CrossFit isn't promoting the Tia-Laura rivalry more. And they took one baby step with this post. And we talked about it, that she made this quote, however it goes, it ends with me winning. And that they should use that. And then they should have some clips of Tia like dominating and back and forth. So they took this tiny step like that we wanted them to take so bad. And then nothing followed this up.
Yeah.
We are less than 2 weeks away from the CrossFit Games, this mega rivalry on the horizon. And it's a step. We asked for a step.
Yeah, they shared it at least. I mean, it got lots of interaction.
Sarah, neither one of them need to participate. They've already said things. They've already done things.
Oh, I think Laura wants to participate. I mean, she's the one putting it out there.
When NBC promotes the Sunday Night Football game, they don't go ask the players for footage of what they're doing.
Yeah.
They go back and get clips and put it together to promote their show. CrossFit has a show coming up. They have a show that they're trying to get eyes on, that they're trying to get butts in seats. They should be taking clips and making a montage of these two women going at it. Clips from Rogue, clips from when they've competed in the past. They're the last two champions. It's everything there is.
I agree. Tia probably would not participate. I can not even follow her social media. It is all ads.
But she is interviewed after events.
Sure, they could pull clips. Would she be active and be making posts? No. Could they create their own storyline? Sure.
You could do it with footage of them competing against each other.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have to be anything she says. Like it's so damn frustrating.
Yeah, small team. They can't do that stuff, Scott.
Well, and then they have people like Jason and Dallin actually saying things, and they could grab those clips.
Yes.
They could put those together. Like you listen to these interviews, Lazar Jukic with Savan the other day is talking about throw 8 names in the hat, 9, 10 names in the hat. Anyone could win the games.
Very true.
We haven't had that in forever. Throw all their stuff in. Who you got this year? Do a whole who you got campaign. Have Roman's interview after the box overs at semifinals, right into Dallin's interview, right into Hopper's, like all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's all out there. All they have to do is curate it and throw it together. Oh gosh, it's frustrating.
Gonna have to do the work for them.
But it's funny, we actually said this last week, and then we got this, and then I was watching for more, and it never came. Never came. So anyway, Metcon Rush, did you see anything from there?
I didn't.
They did some Instagram lives.
Uh-huh.
I was really jealous because I was supposed to go to Metcon Rush.
Right.
But had to pull out of that because of vacation plan by my wife, and had to choose happy wife life over going to Metcon Rush. But one of my favorite people in the world won the women's side, and that is Freya Mooseberger.
Mm-hmm.
So huge shout out to her. She was followed in second by Samantha Pugh, and third Chloe Carano. And the winners got $3,000. That's almost as much as like winning a semifinal.
Yeah. Not a bad day. Not a bad weekend.
Wow. People are Vi actually says, Dave admitting that dismantling the media department was a huge mistake. It's kind of a win though, and maybe it means changes are coming. And Vi is speaking to, in an interview, he was asked, what's the one thing he would change if he could change anything in the past? And it was the dismantling of the media department.
Yeah. I mean, he brought that up. Well, I feel like Pat brought that up as well, the media. And then a different interview, he brought that up. So, I mean, it was brought up twice. Like,
because of the way the question was asked, though, it had more punch.
Yes.
Because what is the one mistake you would want to do differently?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, and we can get into some of that, but Sarah is, and we're jumping all over the place till Carolyne gets here, but Sarah is asking who my Funkos are. I have a bunch, by the way. Like if you saw on the other side there, there's a bunch, but I have the Flash. I have my namesake, Thor. Then I have some fun ones. This is Mike Ditka.
Nice. Go Bears.
This is The Tick. I don't know if it was a sitcom comedy. Super, super funny. And then this is Slash from Guns N' Roses.
Nice.
And then back here, who fell down is Walter Payton. So yeah.
Fun.
I used to collect all kinds of things, but now I just collect mint trading cards. These wax packs are so freaking fun. This takes me back to like 1984, saving my allowance, going down to the store and open up football cards and being excited about who was inside. If you have not got yourself a mint trading card wax pack, got to go on mint trading cards. Wad Zombie is the freaking coolest dude in the space. These are the coolest trading thing in the space. Go grab you some. Some of his new ones are Enola Kai, which is, I've learned in the Dave Castro interviews, he's like the coolest guy in CrossFit. Right?
Yeah.
Hattie Canyo. He's got Savan, Adrian Conway, Chase.
Yeah.
I don't know who else. I got a bunch of them. But anyway, go check those out. They're awesome. Trying to catch up on everything.
SoCal WZA.
SoCal WZA?
Yeah. Wodapalooza. SoCal. That's what's next.
This comment.
Oh.
The people in CrossFit media do not love CrossFit. It is a job, not a passion. Their work quality proves it.
That is evident. I would agree.
And Sarah Cooper has the Harry Potter Funkos. I have Harry as well, somewhere up there. And then the other Metcon Rush winner, we didn't finish that out. Luis Oscar
Mora. Yep.
Won. Nick Matthew took second,
yep.
And Benoit Boulanger took third.
Nice.
So all big time semifinal athletes.
Right.
Metcon Rush is killing it over there in Maryland. I've got to get there next year. Like, it is one of those mid majors that is going to grow the sport. Mm-hmm. And I've been saying that for months now. Crash, SoCal or NorCal Classic, those Beach Brawl, all those kinds of things. Mm-hmm. They're the ones that are going to grow the sport because they're getting really good names. Someday we'll see them. We fulfilled your request from last week, seeing our OG pictures. I'm just waiting for Carolyne to jump in for those as well. So, SoCal Wodapalooza. Mm-hmm. Do I have to say tier in there too? I don't know.
I have no idea. It's a long name.
Has named a bunch of people since we last met. It started with Lazar Jukic for the world team, Ariel Lowen for the North American team, Justin Medeiros for the North American team, Sahir Kaya for the world team. Mm-hmm. And they've been added to the rosters of Tia Toomey, Jeff Adler, and Danielle Brandon. So that's shaping up to be a star-studded event.
Yes. It'll be exciting.
Yeah, super exciting. And I think this question was thrown in here by our co-host, Carolyne. But we'll go ahead and we'll attack it now.
Okay.
We got into it last week about the Hall of Fame.
Right.
And Carolyne forgot Matt. And then she stuck to her guns on Instagram and said she's keeping Matt out of the inaugural class, which makes no sense to me. And I'd love to hear the explanation on this. And she was going with Kalipa, Miko Salo, and Rich. So with this, she asked, who would your MVP out of Matt and Rich be? I'll let you go first. But I think I know your answer.
Do you?
I don't know.
So if I had to, well, this depends on MVP how, like who I would put on a team to try to win an event. I would have to go with Matt. If it was like who was the biggest contribution to the sport of CrossFit, for sure I would go with Rich.
So I think it's Rich on both fronts.
Matt is, I mean, just like Tia, like unrivaled. I would have loved to seen them actually go head to head.
They did.
Well,
2014.
Yeah, that doesn't count.
Head to head.
No, that does not count. Like a 2018-19 head to head. I would have liked to see them go
head. But that's not fair to Rich because Rich is now.
I get it. He's older. Yeah, and Rich was great against the field when things weren't as heavy and skills ran as deep. Matt could still demolish fields in very, very deep fields. I don't know. I would have to see Rich have competed in that time frame. I think Matt's domination is unparalleled.
They both retired on top, meaning they both probably left stuff on the table. So when you're going 4 to 5, like that doesn't mean much to me because I'm convinced Rich could have beat Ben Smith in 15.
Yeah.
Right. And to be honest, Matt probably wins a couple more if he wants to. But Rich he never tried to dominate. Rich did enough to
agree
win.
with that. I
right?
agree with that. Yep.
So like you're not going to get the spread you would get with Matt. They
Yes.
just had different mindsets.
Yep.
Rich was about saving his body for the end, and he never lost on Sunday.
Yep.
And his plan worked beautifully.
I agree.
So I don't know. I think it's a toss up if you really look at it. Because Rich had that they both had that I'm not going to lose mentality, and they were willing to die on that hill to do it.
Mm-hmm. I wish we had some insight to Matt's time at Mayhem. And like I think there was someone alluded to, like they both have that won't back down. So like if they worked out together in the gym together, they were both going to try to win that workout. And that's hard to do, just workout training sessions every day trying to win. But I wish we would have gotten more insight into that. Like, was Rich beating Matt 60% of the time? We'll never know, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I wish somebody would come out with that.
It's like how many licks it takes to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop.
Right.
The world will never know.
It's too bad. Someone in there's got to have some insight. Like,
your coach, didn't Rich overhead squat nearly 400 pounds in 2014? Yes, he did.
what's Matt's overhead squat?
So not as heavy, wink.
Yeah.
Rich was strong back in the day.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Like at invitationals, he was trying ridiculous numbers that nobody else even had a shot at. Vi says Matt was a more impressive athlete than Rich. Obviously, it's all conjecture, but I think peak Matt would be peak Rich. Rich has clearly done more for the sport, so it's probably about what matters to you.
Yeah, I agree. If I would pick Rich to represent CrossFit any day of the week.
And it's pretty overwhelming that it's Rich.
Yeah.
Throughout here. Sarah, Matt influenced the sport after Rich, I might add. Rich is CrossFit.
Yeah.
Rich is the GOAT of CrossFit, but Matt was the most dominant individual. Rich has done more for CrossFit than Matt. Yeah, I don't think anybody can dispute any of those. But I do think everybody just automatically says that Matt was more dominant, and Rich, after his first year taking second, never lost. Right? So he did everything he needed to do to win.
Yeah.
Matt had a different mindset. He wanted to crush the competition.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to set records. I'm not sure that's what mattered to Rich. I think Rich just wanted to win at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it would have been nice to see them continue on, because I don't could Rich have trained to that capacity? I don't know.
I don't know.
But you're right. He's older. That's a tougher ask.
And D. Reed says, and he beat Matt head to head. And he'll always have that in his pocket.
That's true.
So. The fields that Matt beat were tougher. Possibly. So. Clock says, could Rich have learned to run like Matt? Doubtful. Rich got better at running.
Yeah.
He hired Hinshaw. Hinshaw worked with him. He got marketably better. And it caused a rift between him and Kalipa, because Kalipa was pissed because he thought he had the key to success over Rich.
Did Kalipa have Hinshaw first?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've heard Hinshaw tell the story.
Yeah.
So Tristan Patrick says, I go back to the 2159 complex. Everyone says that's the only time they have ever seen Rich go, and he destroyed the field.
Which complex? I'm not sure.
I don't know. Rich had that clutch gene, could bring it whenever he needed it. Matt did too.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. But it, for some reason, you throw those two names out there and it always sparks debate, and everybody goes forever. So,
Sure.
but anyway, let's move on to the Dave interviews. He's done 79 of them.
Wow.
There's one left, I believe. He only has one left.
Who is it?
And it is Danielle Brandon.
Oh, what the heck?
There was a poll, I think, put out by Barbell Spin that asks who's going to be the last. Most of the votes were Danielle, saying that it's because that's his favorite. They're friends, blah, blah, blah. I truly believe, I have tried to schedule Danielle. It is one of the toughest things I've ever done in my life.
Yeah.
We have had her on the show twice, but it took multiple attempts to get her on. But I cannot imagine going to the games and consciously dissing Dave. Halpin did correct me. I should have.
That's right.
Yeah, 78
Yep.
because he didn't do Ilya Marakov because he didn't get his visa and he's not coming anyway.
Yep.
But again, and yeah, Savon said this too. I heard him say it as well. She is nearly impossible to schedule.
Yeah.
But I don't have Dave's clout. So hopefully Dave can get that scheduled because she hasn't done any media. When we were doing these rankings, like that was going through my head. Like, this is the first year we haven't seen Danielle do media. She did the documentary. We haven't heard from her since.
Yeah. It's just like posts of more like her brands and stuff, that her sponsors. That's all I've seen.
Yeah. So it actually, I didn't know whether to influence my ranking or not because it just seems like a different approach this year.
Yeah.
And we'll see where that ended up later tonight. Dave announced during the Elisa Fuliano interview that we now know all the outdoor events. So it appears that we're only doing the run swim outside and Farrington Field, which was then announced later to be the field sprint rest 1600 meters. Then on Dave's Instagram, we got a clue, and I'm going to share my screen, that and this implement would be used at Farrington Field. And that is this little guy, the Happy Star. Then Barbell Spin took it a step further and blew this up. And you can see it says 190 pounds, 70 pounds, 70. So that's a heavy star.
Yeah. How much was the Husafel bag?
I don't think it was that much. 150. Carolyne will be on in 10 minutes.
Sweet.
They
had a heavy cheese curd one year, didn't they? Did they have like?
Yeah.
Didn't that go like black, yellow cheese curd, and that was the heavy one, like 200?
So Sarah says the Husafel she thought was 150, 200. I'm sure Halpin knows if he's still with us.
That sounds about right.
The cheese curds the first year were only 175 because I had to move them.
Okay.
I volunteered for that event.
Mm-hmm.
But I think in years after that, they went heavier with the cheese curd.
Yeah.
Sarah is correct, according to Halpin. 150 and 200 for the Husafel. So if it's 170 for women and then 2.25, maybe.
That's the question. Is this the women's or the men's bag?
We will probably find out in a week or two. Ski bag was 200, 125.
I would like to think, being a sprint, that's the men's.
Do we know it's a sprint?
Yeah, that's true.
He just said it's going to be used in individual event 6. There is a 1,600 meters that they don't tell you how that is going to be done. They do say field sprint and then 1,600 meters.
Mm-hmm.
They had to carry that Husafel a long way upstairs.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Judy Reed, of course she's correct. Sarah Cooper is lead female analyst. Well, I like to think Jamie and Carolyne are, but we'll let Sarah in that club.
I mean, I like the idea, even if it is just start at the end of the turf, pick up the bag and sprint down. I like that idea. Like you always get, like Kelly Baker, somebody tripping over their feet trying to run with those bags in their hands.
My dream is that the sprint is Strongman Sphere. Yeah. That is one of my favorite events ever.
Yeah, I love that.
At the games.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a football field. You can break it up with handstand walks or other things on the field, like they did back in 2017, and put other apparatus out there with the Happy Star. And maybe the Happy Star is just the last implement you have to use. But I loved that event. I was in the pits for that. I moved the yokes and I loved seeing that live. And there were a lot of races. If you remember, that's when Fikowski and Fraser went off the edge of the field, racing to the end of that. Draw your dagger. I've personally seen with my own eyes this weekend women moving 200-pound bag pretty well. I know where Draw Your Dagger was, and that means that Fee, Alexis, and Paige Semenza were moving some 200-pound bags. Andrew Sten, I want to see them carry the bag around the track for the 1,600 meters, and they race NASCAR style. Rubbing and racing? Strongman Sphere is the best games event ever. I agree. It was so many people failed right at the edge of the line for the handstand walks and had to go back. People were crushed by those big Viking implements that they had to carry. It was crazy.
I do think that that's like the best. I mean, this is your time to showcase our sport. You've invited people off the street to come in and watch this. Like, don't just give them a track meet. Give them something that like showcases our athletes.
Slater logs.
Yeah.
Lex says, I want Danielle to play hard to get. I think she is.
Yeah.
I think she always plays that game.
I do too.
So we have that implement. I'm hoping for Strongman Sphere. What are you hoping for?
Yeah, I agree. I think something like that is the right idea. If it's just a sprint or even just a sprint with that bag running down, like if that's it, it's not enough time on the field. It's not enough. Like that's just two short little things, 5, 6, max 7 minutes of a mile run. Like if you're going to bring people out and tell people to show up at Farrington Field, like it's gotta be worth their time. It's gotta be a long enough event. It's gotta showcase our athletes. I think strongman sphere, something like that would be a great choice.
Halpin says there has to be more on paper, even with that sandbag. The heats are 8 to 10 minutes of total work.
That doesn't seem like very long.
Yeah, I think correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, but you are actually computing out in your head how long with the sandbag and the runs and all that kind of stuff would take heats to go through.
Well, he must have maybe there's already so is that Friday night? Is that ESPN's broadcast hour, 2 hour? So there's 2 hours.
Correct.
Scheduled for this.
Sarah,
I don't know.
Oh no. Whoop. Beck, do you guys remember the 2020 games event called Happy Star?
Was that the run shoulder to overhead one?
They had to go out to different locations at the ranch.
Yeah.
And come back and then I think it was shoulder to overhead, right?
Yeah.
She is saying redux.
Yeah. No, I
think the burpees over the log were a different event.
That actually might have been the same event. They might have come in from running out, got done the thing over the. I don't know. I can't remember if that was the same event or a different event.
So Halpin's calculations are 120-yard sandbag run, rest, 6 to 7 minute mile.
Yeah.
Dew says 2020 hill run burpee thruster. So that was different than the Happy Star.
Okay. So that was the one with bar muscle up, shoulder to overhead. And the women were getting crushed on the shoulder to overhead. You could tell the fatigue.
Tia failed on her last rep. And we didn't think we'd ever see that.
Mm-hmm. You could see the difference there between the men and the women in the shoulder fatigue. That's one of the ones I go back to when everyone is asking for heavier for the women. It has to be the right movements. I think people forget about the cumulative shoulder fatigue on women when you pair it with bar muscle ups, ring muscle ups, shoulder to overhead.
The other news that's come out this week is event 1, the run swim, is tentatively scheduled for 7 a.m. Dave did say they're going to make the demo team do it at 7 a.m. And then if it's too hot, they're going to go at 6 a.m.
Okay.
I don't know what temperature difference you're going to get between 6 and 7. And I think they're overthinking the heat, but that's me. And then we finished with teams are using a paddleboard for event 1.
Mm-hmm. Do we think they're using that big one?
I don't know. I don't. There's a big one, a little one in the picture, and it's pictured with Sam Dancer and Jen Dancer and Christine Colenbrander and Jared Stevens.
Yes.
Those two men would need the big paddleboard. Just saying. But it makes you wonder. Well, they don't say anything about a paddleboard in run swim.
Yeah. I don't think the individuals are going to have a paddleboard. Personally, I think it's run swim. That's straightforward.
Sam Briggs posted an event she did with the big paddleboard on her Instagram.
That thing is so big. I mean, I could see all 4 of them laying on it, and I don't know, or standing, but I don't know. I feel like that'd be a disaster. I don't think you could coordinate 4 people standing.
There's Sam Briggs. That's old school. Look at the Progenics logos.
Wow.
That's 6-person team.
Is this a throwback picture? or something she recently did?
She just posted it, but
Okay.
if you see that Progenics logo,
Yeah, it looks like.
that's old. It's got to be old.
Yeah, it seems like something she repurposed.
And Carolyne is with us.
Hello. What's that?
How was dinner?
Oh, it was so good. It was a hibachi.
That's what I had today
Where
too.
they cook in front of you.
Uh-huh.
It was so
I
good.
love
I forgot
hibachi.
that we had booked it like last week, and I didn't even think about the time difference. It's like, oh yeah, 4 p.m. is perfect. But I forgot that we are at 5 Pacific here.
We have one more thing, and then we're going to get into our rankings and goofy pictures. So first is, and the last thing is Pat's interview with Dave. We talked about this one that a lot of people felt it was the best ones yet. And it definitely was the longest. It went 30 minutes of back and forth with Pat and Dave. And what were your thoughts, ladies?
I'll let Carolyne go.
I mean, you're not going to keep Pat to a short interview. That's for sure. He always has so much to say. That probably my favorite interview was Pat. I liked that he pushed back on some of the events. He had some, good humor with, are you just out of ideas and stuff like that. I thought he brought up good points on the step ups and his concerns with the standards and it being across, all lanes being fair. And it looked like Dave was like, yep, I mean, those are great points and stuff like that. So I wouldn't be surprised to see the step over if that was the case or something like that. But it seemed like Dave acknowledged his concern and is thinking of ways that won't happen. I thought it was a great discussion. I feel like they could keep going on for a long time, but they kept it to 30 minutes.
Yeah. Me. Pat is like one of my favorite CrossFitters. I loved it. Yeah, it was my favorite interview. But yeah, I couldn't tell. I totally agree. Dave agreed with Pat, but I don't know that that means that it won't still be step ups and it is what it is. And I don't know.
But if you look at how the athletes are moving online, I still don't think it's that great.
I agree. And leaving it up to the judges and letting a workout be determined by a judge is not right. And I don't know if Dave is trying to see if he can get these judges in line and make an event be judged properly, or like Scott has said, want to double down on this. I'm going to show you how to do it right. I think he acknowledged Pat very well, and he was like, "Yep, you're right," but I don't know that means we're going to change it.
Ken Walters says Pat has concerns with almost every event.
He's definitely one of the more vocal ones. Him and Brent, at every briefing, they always have questions or concerns on some of the things, but it's because they want a fair competition. So every time we have briefings, Pat's always bringing up possible cheating ways just to be make sure everyone knows that that's wrong type thing, which I mean, it's nice to have someone speak up at briefings that just has so much experience. And I think that's what I took away from the interview as well, is it was two people that have a lot of experience in our sports just chatting away.
Yeah. You have this comment in there about Haley's interview, and I didn't do it justice when we talked about it, but she said it perfectly. And I didn't mind the workout, but this is what I said when we talked about it last week. I don't think you can bastardize the workout. It's a workout that means something, and I don't want to see it changed. That's my biggest issue. I get Pat's concern, but it's Chad. It's for something. It's step ups. Do them right.
Yeah, I think Pat has embraced the get off your lawn character and loves living that light, right? I'm the grumpy old man on the porch and I want everybody off my lawn. But Haley brought up a really good point that this workout means something to a lot of people. And after struggling with mental health over the last year, she thinks it's disrespectful to challenge what it is and what it means.
Yep.
And while I think Pat was just being Pat and not like trying to take away its meaning. He just is thinking about the sport and the competition.
Absolutely.
But this is also my concern when we talked about this, like doing hero workouts for speed at the games versus doing hero workouts at your gym and, you know, suffering with other people from the community and stuff like that. Like that's the difference between, do you put those hero workouts on the line and skirt the line?
Right.
And like, I think if the twist is, you know, getting them away from the box too often, like you're also getting rid of that stimulus of that stamina of just step ups, because that changes the whole workout as well. If you start having, I don't know, pull-ups or something in between, something that you can do with a ruck. I mean, they could do a barbell, like one's a 45 men's barbell, one's a 35 barbell, and you're just holding it this way. Like, I don't know if it's an actual ruck, but the ruck would make sense just because of the sponsorship. But yeah, I do like the idea of keeping it as much as possible to the workout and what it was written as.
What I thought was interesting is Haley put herself in the shoes of Chad's wife and his kids. Like there's this big honor that my husband or father's name is, his workout is being used at the CrossFit Games and what that would mean to them. And hearing people disrespect the workout isn't good for them. And so I thought it was it was a take that I did not think about when I've been talking about it. And I'm glad she mentioned something about it, because there are people associated with Chad and what it means, and they're affected by everything we say about it.
Mm-hmm.
And what a cool feeling they would have that knowing their dad's workout is at the CrossFit Games.
Yeah.
Vi says, Pat speaks his mind and I love him for that. You won't catch him biting his tongue, and CrossFit has enough sycophants. So he brings good balance. So.
Yeah, I love his takes.
Yeah. Again, I love the character he's become. He is getting to be one of the elder statesmen, and people want to hear what he has to say. And I don't think he meant any disrespect. I don't think anybody did, but it is something to think about.
Yeah.
So anyway, with that, last week we talked about how at one point in my life, I was such a fan of Rich Froning that I tried to dress like him when I would do workouts. And people said, we need to see the pics. So I have a few pics, and I asked Jamie and Carolyne to share theirs. And so Jamie has one that's classic, but hers will come up later. So I'll start with mine and we'll go through. So this one is, I did a 5K or 5 miler, and got long socks, the Nike free runs, the pink headband. Yeah.
Excellent. I have a lot of pictures like that.
And if I can figure out how to shrink the screen, here we go. This one is me carrying my buddy at a comp. This one is me as Rich, really. With the black headband, the facial hair, the Rich Froning t-shirt. I have the necklace right there. So sporting that pretty good. Here's Carolyne.
I couldn't find anything. I don't have anything from back then. I just used to always wear high, like stance socks all the time.
But you got the wrist wraps.
Yeah.
You got the nanos going.
Chalk everywhere. Yeah, I had nanos, all of them, every single pair.
This was Carolyne's first competition.
Wow.
All the neon.
I think that's the last time that you'll see me in a sports bra. I think I just was following what everyone does in CrossFit. So that's why I sent it. I'm like, I will never be in a sports bra at a competition ever. You won't find me. I'm in a t-shirt or a tank top.
Are those Nike lifters in the sand?
I don't even know. I think they're running shoes at that point. And then I switched to Reeboks for the rest, basically.
I know I have some more here. This one is a pretty good one.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, the red headband, the red shirt,
See,
two different color shoes.
I still wear a headband every single time I work out. So like, find pictures with headbands and stuff. I'm like, that's me every day. I wear my junk headband all the time.
And then we have Jamie
taped up.
All the rock tape like crazy. The headband, the bright green shoes, the tall socks.
Yep. I have so many. I still have all my tall socks of every color to match every outfit. And I like wearing tall socks so that I don't always have to pull my knee sleeves down, and because I drag the barbell right along my shins. So I still have my tall socks. I like them. I'm used to them from running. I just always had like either tall socks or compression.
I wanted to share this one because I wanted to say my front rack has gotten so much better since this pick. So much better. But the board shorts, the Rogue Fitness board shorts, the rock tape on the knees, the grips, there we go. The necklace right there. Yeah. But my front rack is so much better. Trust me. So much. I actually stretch before I work out now.
That's good.
So anyway, that was fun. And if you guys have any of that stuff, like shoot it to us and tag us on Instagram. We'd love to share it. Because we all like went down that road a while back, right?
Judy gets it. Send us your tall socks, Judy.
I did CrossFit when the tall socks were in, but I wish they were still a thing.
You can still wear them, Judy. I still do.
Judy, I did not get the Galatians tattoo. So then what we have next is our rankings. I'm the only person that's seen all three lists. I've changed mine 5 times since I got back from vacation.
I wrote mine in 5 minutes. Honestly, I didn't try to think about it too much because I know a lot of these competitors, obviously, and I don't know. I didn't want to think about it too much. That was my first quick glance at it. And
same, Carolyne. I think I could probably make an argument with looking at the order of events that we know so far and maybe making some adjustments, but I just like threw mine down and I'm like, we're going with this. This is basically my list that I submitted to help him before we knew any events. So, I think
I feel unsure from 22 to 12-ish. And then I don't feel sure from like 8 to 3.
Yeah.
I mean, it all depends on the workouts.
So freaking hard.
It does.
John Young just jumped in. He knows how hard this stuff is. Before any events are announced, it's so hard.
The thing that's tough is like you don't know injuries going into the competitions. You don't know people's mindsets. Like there's so many factors, like what the workouts are, that makes it hard to pick the order. Like last year, as soon as I was doing the demo and I knew what the workouts were, I could in my head pick certain athletes. But if I don't know all the workouts, like it's just harder because you know what their strengths and weaknesses are. I still feel fine with my list. I feel confident.
So Beck, huge congrats to John Young. His wife, they found out that they're having a little girl. So super congrats to John Young on that. And we appreciate it. Hit a like for that YouTube algorithm. Would appreciate a like and a subscribe if you haven't already done so.
You'll be a great girl dad, John.
I was a girl dad. I still am. My little girl's 22 years old, turning 23 this week. So you will love it. It's been the best 23 years of my life.
My dad was a 5-time.
Oh my gosh.
All girls?
Because I'm a girl.
Girls.
Oh. So, all right, here we go. We'll share the list. And I am going to try to blow. It's not going to blow up. Shoot.
Ooh. Go full screen.
I'm in Canva to do this, so I can go from.
John says, goodness, Carolyne, the stuff of nightmares. That's
All
a
right.
lot of estrogen in one
So
house.
this is 31 to 40, and I'll blow it up so you can just see our lists. You don't need the header, right?
No.
So we will go with Jamie's first. She has Gemma Rader in 40th, DeJuan Young 39th, Georgia Pryor 38th, Andrea Pinheiro 37, Daisy McDonald 36, Shung Young Choi 35th, Kyra Milligan 34th, Chloe Govin David 33, 32 Claudia Gluck, and 31 Victoria Campos. Carolyne, you want to read yours? Because that's a lot.
My eyes. 40 is Raider, then Duan Jung, then
Pinheiro.
the Brazilians, both of them. Daisy McDonald, Georgia Pryor, Victoria Campos, Carolyne Stanley, Lexi Neely, and Linda Kiesman.
And I rounded out with Pinheiro last, Gemma Rader 39th, Georgia Pryor, then DeJuan Young, Daisy McDonald, Kyra Milligan, Julia Cato, Lexi Neely, Jacqueline Dahlstrom, and Victoria Campos. I cannot put Pinheiro any higher than 40th.
The fact that she it's pretty clear she's been on something, like, and you don't think she's gonna use that to finish higher than you have her. I don't
care. First of all, the first event's going to be terrible for her, and I thank goodness.
Very true.
And she's going to get off to a bad start, and I just hope it continues that way, because I do think she is using stuff, and I don't want to give her any credit for any more than that. I have a question for Carolyne about Carolyne Stanley. I can't believe she has her down this low.
I don't know. Every year there's one or two people that, like last year, where did she finish? In the 30s? The 20s? High 20s? I'm not sure. Like, I think there's some times where you can't predict some weekends. I was stuck with that at the end.
So that's my Jacqueline Dahlstrom pick. Someone always ends up down there, and that's my pick.
I had Jacqueline around the 29 at first, and then I just know that she's often been in the late teens. So then last decision, just switched some people around. But yeah, do I think Stanley can finish much higher? Yeah, I think Stanley can get close to 20.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I think she's probably between 24 and 30, but when I did my rankings quickly, didn't think about it twice, just kept going.
Yeah.
I'm
done. Says, trend don't float, Jamie.
That's true. Event 1 will not be good for her. And the mile run won't be good for her. So she's got a couple there that.
And Lynn, this is overall. This is how we think they're going to finish with very limited information at this year's CrossFit Games. Jamie, you and I both have Kyra Milligan down low.
Mm-hmm.
I saw some comments in there. I don't think these first events stack up for her very well at all. That doesn't mean that the others won't, but plus, because of the situation with underdogs, they have put her in a place where massive change 1 month out of the games. Yeah. And I don't think that's good for competition. So
I don't know. I just feel like there's other people fitter than her. I think, it doesn't matter. They're not there, but I just think, like, if she would have been in the East, she wouldn't be going.
Yeah. So let's move on to the next 10. Jamie, you want to go through your list? Can you see them?
Yeah. Linda Caseman, 30, Lexi Neely, Carolyne Stanley, Julia Cato, Sahar Kaya, Elisa Fuliano, Hattie Canyo, Amy Kringle, Danny Spiegel, Jacqueline Dahlstrom.
Caroline?
Choi, Hattie in 29th, Kyra, Claudia Gluck, Sahar Kaya in 26, Fuliano in 25, Chloe in 24, Bethany. I just don't know with her back. She can be anywhere from close to top 10, and I have no idea. We never know with her. Danny Spiegel, and then Amy Kringle.
And I go 30. Now here's going to be the shocker. Claudia Gluck in 30th, Maddie Sturt 29th, Shung Young Choi 28th, Linda Kiesman 27th, Brooke Wells 26th, Emma McQuaid 25th, Sahir Kaya 24th, Grace Walton 23rd, Shelby Neal 22nd, Elisa Fuliano 21st.
Wow.
Yeah, I have Brooke in 26th. I know that's probably going to create some fuss and muss, but there's always bigger names down the list, and you have to pick somebody. She has had an injury at the beginning of the year. I don't know what toll that's taken on her training. She looked good at semis, but the games is a different story. So, yeah. And Emma McQuaid has not been able to train much this year. So as much as I like her, and I think she's typically a teens athlete, like in that teen area, I just think she may fall off a little bit. And when I looked at the Australians, they're all here and below. I just don't think the field was that tough in Australia this year.
Mm-hmm.
So I just don't know enough about them.
Yeah, I can see that. Someone commented about me having Claudia Gluck too low. You guys only ever a couple places higher than me. I mean, Scott, you had her for 30th, and Caroline has her 27th. I had her 32nd. Like that's almost like the same spot.
Yeah, because you really have to look at everything in tiers.
Yeah.
And like I had the hardest time from 23rd up, and that's why I went Grace Walton first, because I don't know how tough that field was in Australia. So
yeah, Danny is a tough one for me with the running to start the weekend. This is where I almost want to redo this when we know the event, like know all the events. In my head when I was doing this, I was like, this could be a tough start for her, but I gotta think there's going to be something heavy in there or something that she's going to excel at to kind of make the start of the weekend somewhat balanced. But yeah, she was one of the tougher ones for me.
And depending on the sprint event, like she's more of a sprinter. Yeah. And if you add a heavy implement there while you're sprinting, or a sled and something, she could do well there and take a hit maybe on the mile. But she's an explosive athlete, and she's an athlete at the end of the day. Probably one of the better pure athletes in the field. So she is very hard because in certain events she'll struggle, but she also always has wheelhouse events. So somewhere in the middle is normally a safe bet.
100 points is a lot. She has the capability of getting 100 points a couple times.
Agreed.
Right. And that's when I get into this tier, and you're going to see, like, I don't have her that much higher than you guys, but when you can get 100 points, like that makes a huge deal on this leaderboard. Right. And I looked at it as, I don't think Shelby Neal and Elisa Fuliano have the home run.
Oh, so Fuliano was totally a sprinter. Agree. What did you say, Fuliano?
I don't think
she was a 100-meter sprinter.
Win the sprint. And if
she's a 100-meter sprinter. She got second. Fuliano got second on a handstand walk event last year, and she's a 100-meter sprinter as a background. So I wouldn't put it past her that she can get a top 3 on an event if it was a pure gymnastics thing. She's great on her hands.
I know she took second in a handstand event. Like, she's good on her hands. That was my thought process anyway through this whole thing.
I'm shocked you have Brooke so low.
I just her body is not held up year after year.
JR changed my mind a little bit on her, but because she has been training with Hopper and I saw a few things and I don't know. And just how highly he spoke.
I think she's been getting better and better since the Open. I think she looked surprisingly good at semis, and I think she's only going to improve her labrum that she was protecting up through the Open. Like, I think she's just improving.
But anytime you can get close to 100 points at the games, it's so huge because you're not middling any of those top girls very often. So anytime you can get, 80 plus points, you're almost getting close to the, top 20 if you can get one or two of those. And some of these athletes like Spiegel, probably only Spiegel really in this list that has many home runs like that. I mean,
Yeah.
Brooke could get a top 5, but I don't know what Scott was thinking there, but
It is what it is. Like and there's things like, okay, like I don't even know how, every time I say this, it gets me in trouble in some ways, is when you're scheduling these people and the stories they tell you back as to why they may not be able to come on, or like it affects the way I think about how they're going to perform in the upcoming event. Right. And so like with some of these athletes, that's happened. Now, Brooke Wells, everybody's saying, have you seen the Hopper video? I don't trust those videos anymore. Those videos are there to make sure that everybody looks good.
Of course.
Now, if Carolyne has inside information and knows times and this kind of stuff, that's more information than I have.
I don't have that information, but I just know that they're finishing very similar, basically every workout. And I mean, that could be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on where Hopper's at. Because I mean, we put a lot of faith into him last year and saw what happened. But I think he is bound to have a better season, much better season this year, training with, and JR as.
Tune in next week to hear where Carolyne puts Hopper.
Yeah.
And John Young trying to rub salt in the wound and restart a rivalry with, next thing you know, he's going to say Saxon can win the games. You'll have to tune in next week, John, to find out where I have Saxon Panchek. So yeah. So let's move on to the top 20. And there, I'm going to go first this time. We'll go back the other way. I have Carolyne Stanley in 20th, Danny Spiegel in 19th, only a couple places higher than you guys have her. Bethany Flores, because every time I count her out, she somehow finishes. She never gets cut, and she always makes it to the next round.
I agree.
She just does. Amy Kringle, 17th. Chloe Govin David, 16th. Hattie Canio, 15th. Karen Freyova, 14th. Paige Semenza, 13th. Emily Rolfe, 12th. Haley Adams, 11th.
Nice.
I'll go, I guess. I have Paige Semenza in 20th. Jacqueline Dahlstrom in 19th. Grace Walton as my highest finishing rookie, I believe, in 18th. Maddie Sturt in 17th. Shelby Neal, very impressed with her at the semifinals. I think she's on an upward trajectory. Emma McQuaid, I think that's a lot of times where she falls. Same with Emily Rolfe. I think Abigail's going to have a big bounce back year as her sophomore year in 13th. Freyova in 12th and Emma Tall in 11th.
Nice. I feel like we're close on these ones, Scott. I have 20th, Shelby Neal, Bethany Flores, Madeline Sturt, Emma McQuaid, Grace Walton, Abigail Domet, Paige Semenza, Karen Freyova, Emily Rolfe, Brooke Wells.
So you have Brooke a little higher than me.
A little bit higher, yeah. And we haven't seen Brooke on Carolyne's, have we?
Scott has athlete decline interview invitation bias when ranking. Yes, I do. And it's really their reason, not that they decline. It's the reason that they give me. And Andrew Hiller would like me to drop their names. But if I ever want to get them on again, I'm not dropping their names.
You know, Andrew.
My heart wanted to put Chloe higher, and I had her as high as, I think, like 17th or something, and a last-minute switch of her and Dahlstrom. And a few others, but I do like that one. And someone said Emma Tall at 11th is crazy. I had her inside the top 10 and also switched her last minute with
You
some.
have her 11th.
Yeah.
You're right there.
Yeah. I mean, I think she benefited a lot last year from how much upper body pulling there was at the games. And there was a whole, like a shit ton. And like Pat had the best games that he could have had. He had some events that were given to him with the upper body pulls, and that's his strength. And he just ripped his hands, which sucked because that's one of his best things. Like he should have done better on the rope climb. And Emma Tall, I would say, is number 1 or number 2, maybe behind Gazan right now in some of the upper body pulling. So I don't know if she finished 11th last year because of how much pulling there was. I still think she is extremely solid coming out of Europe and will be close to where she was last year. So whether she gets into the top 10 or right outside, I don't see her being too far away. She's very impressive.
I think it's a great spot for her.
Ken Walter says, because of Hiller's video, Domit will be higher than 12th if we're going by media stuff. Then Sarah Cooper, I think you're all high in Rolf based on the events released. Mine is not based on the events released. She has improved every year she's made it to the games. Last year, she took 13th. So this year, she takes 12th.
Yeah, that's where I ever.
That's all. And she's always been in around like 15th, 14th, 13th.
Agreed.
Like she just keeps improving one spot every year.
Mm-hmm.
Lynn, Scott, the fact you have Amy Kringle above Spiegel, Shelby, Brooke, we need revision 6 of the list. I think what Amy did in Europe against that stacked field deserves some notice. And so again, 23 through like 12 for me, 11 maybe, is all like one group of stuff. And just trying to figure out who you put where. I said I do not feel confident in any of these in here. John Young says I have Emmett all 11th.
Yeah.
Put Simmons in the top 10 just for me. I couldn't do it. As much as I love Paige.
Man, yeah.
I had to have her making the cut, though. I love Paige.
Yeah, I have her
Agree.
13. I think she's going to do really good. I think she has a different mindset this year than she has in years past, and she's healthy, which is huge. So I have her making a big jump.
Yeah, I have her 14.
Thank you, Jonathan Ortega. Amy is more well-rounded than Danny in my mind. And you couldn't say that a year ago.
Well-rounded, yes. I think our issue with Danny is she has the capability of getting 2 100-point workouts. Amy's well-rounded, so if you don't have that ability to get 100 points.
I think Amy is going to be competition in the run, swim.
Yeah.
The mile run, like those things. And she has a potential to hit some out of the park there.
Yeah.
So, anything else here?
No, I'm surprised how similar this groupings is for us. You had me thinking we were way off.
I do have Hattie higher than you guys do by like a lot. I think she's more well-rounded than people give her credit for. And she was winning the West with one event to go.
I can see her up there. I have Abby, I have Domit at 15th, and I could see her somewhere around there. Again, I had her like 24. So.
Yeah, I can see her up there. She's well-rounded. I just think a well-roundedness at the games is not where she was at the semis. Like over there at semis, if she's getting, let's say, a top 5 there, it might just be like a top 20 to 25. And to be honest, it just doesn't get that many points. And I just think being a rookie, it's hard to get inside that top 20. Very few do it in their first year. So I had her outside of the cut. Can she make the cut? Absolutely. I just think there's something to be said about a rookie year and just experiencing a whole field of 40 athletes where everyone's good and the volume's higher and stuff like that. Like a lot of these rookies have never had competitions like that. So I just think that's why I put her further out.
Vi asks, is Amy a better runner than Emily? I don't know, because I don't know if I've ever seen them compete against each other in a run event. But that is their strong suit for both of them.
They both did the it's not running, but they both did the Dubai Tower, right? Emily was there
Yes.
and Amy won that. So take that for what it's worth.
And, you know, John has to say unequivocally no.
That would be my first instinct, that Emily's the better runner.
Yeah. But Amy's really good runner. That is her strength. So, but then Tia's a really good runner too.
Yeah.
So I don't know
Haley,
where they fall like Haley.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, it's all going to be crazy there. John says Enola Kai won it too, Jamie. He ain't faster than Lazar.
Right. I'm not saying that's a running event. It is interesting to look at it in comparison to Chad, though.
All right, so here we go. Top 10.
You want me to go?
Yeah, you can go.
Okay. I have Emma Tall, Danielle Brandon, Haley Adams, Ariel Lowen, Alexis Raptis, Emma Lawson, Alex Kazan, Gabby McGowa, Laura Horvath, Tia Toomey.
Carolyne?
Brooke Wells, Alex Gazan, Ariel Lowen, Haley Adams, Danielle Brandon, Alexis Raptis, Emma Lawson, Gabby McGowa, Laura Horvath, and tia-clair Toomey.
I have Danielle Brandon 10th, Abby Domit 9th, Emma Tall 8th, Gabby McGowa 7th, Emma Lawson, Ariel Lowen, Alex Kazan, Alexis Raptis, tia-clair Toomey, and Laura Horvath.
I am shocked you moved Lawson down to 6th.
If you would have saw the first draft of this, like I would have been slaughtered on here.
I had Haley higher at first as well, like closer towards the podium.
So here's why Emma dropped for me, right? I've had Emma number 1 all year.
Same.
Until the last spin poll, I dropped her because of the mental health issues, and she dropped down.
Yep.
After listening to Alexis Raptis with Savon and with Dave, I feel like her mindset this year is different, and I've wanted to move her up. So then when that happened, I moved Raptis up a lot, and then I actually dropped her a little bit. So we settled here, and I have said all along that I don't think Tia is going to win the games, and I'm sticking to my guns. And I may die on this hill, but I have been consistent all year round. And Laura Horvath is coming in with an attitude, and I love it. I just hope she comes in with a couple handstand push-ups.
Yeah.
And Danielle Brandon, like I told you earlier, with her media silence, I really thought about moving her way up. But there are so many good people after the top 2. Like, where the hell do you put her?
I don't know.
So
Carolyne has her pretty high.
I think there's some good events for her so far right now. She's a great runner. She's a good swimmer. Some of these events that have been called out, like as long as she's healthy, like lower back wise, I know she's had issues in the past. If there's a heavy deadlift or something like that, she could struggle there. But I think she's a gamer. I think she'll be in the best shape at the comp. I've been very impressed with Alexis Raptis all year long. If she's healthy with her colitis, she's going to be vying for a podium spot. I think Gabby training with Laura this year has been, nothing but positive, and she's just getting better and better. Haley being back in the field is, like she's always within the top 7, closer even to top 3.
Mm-hmm.
So I had Haley above Danielle at first, kept going back and forth, ultimately landed her there. But yeah, Haley's biggest weakness obviously is strength, but she's really good on the machines. She's a great runner, great, gymnast, handstand, walker, everything. So she'll be in the mix this year. I was sad to put Ariel and Gazan lower than probably a lot of people, but again, with the amount of running I've seen so far, I don't think Gazan is as strong of a runner as some of the girls above her. I know Dave likes to program a lot of running events. There's always like 4, 5 events out of the 12 to 15, let's call it 14 of the events that have substantial running. Although she's, obviously getting better there. Ariel is so well-rounded, but I just think there's some other girls in the field that could be a little bit stronger in certain areas, but Ariel could finish higher again. She's always a sleeper pick, like always great. And then Brooke has been looking good on social media. What does that mean? I have no idea. I flipped her and Emma Tall last minute.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think you and I have Brooke and Emma Tall swapped. Like, we're both right there.
Dreyer Dagger says that I must be on some good stuff, apparently. I get accused of that a lot. Jamie accuses me of being on crack too. So, and then Vi says, good for you, Scott. Lynn, Scott, oh man, Gabby 7th. You sound like Tyler right now. I actually had Gabby higher, like at one point in this list. It just, gosh, it's hard. Lawson sounded tired, talked about her mental struggles. I thought so too.
Lawson's going to smash it. Like, the only reason I have her off the podium is because Tia's back, Laura's there, and I think Gabby just training alongside Laura leading up to the games. Like, that's it. Like, Lawson could podium easily. I think she's mentally strong. I think it could be just taking a little bit of pressure off of her talking about the mental stuff, but she's so well-rounded. She's a great athlete. She's going to be right there for the podium and could honestly win as well too if anything happens with something.
Yeah.
Ken Walter says Tia's never coming back on the show, Scott. Tia's never been on the show and she never gives me an interview, so I feel no allegiance to pick her first. John Young picks it. Carolyne, Jamie, Scott. Not
Thanks,
shocked.
John.
Sean hates me. Tia can't be beat. Ha said with love, Tyler will take it as a compliment. Kenneth says, I don't know who needs to hear this, but Ariel is winning the games. She's bringing the title back to the United States. Old Glory will be waving in the top spot of the podium this year. Now that guy's on some stuff.
That's a big ask, but
the order of these girls, like these athletes, this top 10 is so strong, and it's really going to depend what the events are and what the order will be, because besides maybe the top couple, it can go either way. They all have wheelhouse workouts. They can all win workouts. Like, it's going to be really exciting to watch these athletes. I'd be surprised to see someone outside of this list, podium. But yeah, they're all great, and I expect a big battle between this group in a couple weeks.
John Young says, y'all trying to temper expectations on Emma Lawson for her mental health.
correct.
Yes, that's it. Lynn agrees with Carolyne about Kazan. With Dave programming, I'm seeing a lot of long, grindy workouts. I haven't seen her excel in those. And
again, what last year had a lot of upper body pulling.
Yep.
And that was, a fifth place for her last year, or fourth. I don't remember. Fifth or fourth. I don't know. I don't see them having a max snatch after having it at semifinals, but her raw strength is as strong as anyone, as we've seen, her deadlift strength and her pressing strength. Yeah, she can finish higher too. I have no idea.
John Young says, Tia, Laura, Lawson, Gazan, Gabby, Raptis, book it. Okay.
That's more in order with mine, John, but whatever. You can say Carolyne's is better.
Wow, so many comments.
I know.
I can't even keep up at this point.
You know what? We'll put it all in Heat One app, and once we know the events, and we'll see who's the.
Yeah, and hopefully I can get. Yeah, this one I can at least do at the beginning of the weekend and not have to worry about it. It's the shot caller that I always have trouble getting my picks in.
Right.
Man.
I beat John Young last year at the games at the shot collar. Just throwing it out there. I think so. Or maybe I was too. I thought I did.
Random question. Have we seen Magawa and Laura swim at the games ever? Not paddling, which years?
Just a swim? That's a good question. Was there?
Well, they did the flipper swim
Yeah.
into the kayak.
Yeah. I want to say, wasn't Laura at, what was Laura's first year?
18.
2018.
Wasn't there regular swim that year? Or was that the paddle? Was that the, man, I don't know. I'd have to go look.
That sounds like a shirt. Better double check if you're going to throw accusations like that, girl.
I was close to you. That's all I know.
2018 Madison triples.
Which was the run. Yeah, Tri Plus. I don't know. I was there. I can picture going out there. I don't know.
So what I'll do is I'll post all these graphics out onto Instagram so you can check them out slowly, and then bash us
swim, paddle, run.
Bash us all you want in the comments or on Instagram as we put those out there. What I love is every time I put them out there, it's the coaches that come hard. The coaches come so hard. So there. All right. What do you got to do to finish this thing up?
I just feel like I'm friends with some of them, so it's hard to.
It is hard.
Place them, right?
It's hard.
I want Hattie to finish top 10.
Yeah, she's in your camp.
I know.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll pull this down. I had one question left, but we're past the 90 minutes. We'll bring it up next week. It's a great question that was brought up on another show or by someone. I think Hiller said it. Andrew Hiller talked about it. And when he was doing his social media top 20 or 30, whatever it was.
I see Mark Moss is in the chat. When you end in that July UpLift challenge?
You did it, right?
I did it.
Posted the reel of you doing it.
Mm-hmm. I sent in my score. It was supposed to end on the 19th, but he said they were extending it. Let's go. End it.
I'm bringing Catan if anyone's interested. I don't want to beat you too bad, John. I love board games.
I love board games too.
I won't be there this year.
I will be training. Tristan told me that it was not a good idea for me to go.
Yeah. Well, with that, I'll get those posts out there. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel. If you want to help us get to these events, you can join the channel for as low as $2.99 a minute. Sound like an MCI commercial. We should do it at some point. I'm up for it. So anyway, we'll do, I don't even know, subscribe to the channel, join if you want. It's $2.99 to join a month. I made it as low as you could make it. And hopefully we have some news on merch next week because I got to talk to Mark tomorrow about all that. With that being said, thank you so much for being here tonight. You guys are the best. And
my shirt is I have to get the order into Mark by Tuesday.
The Jamie Latimer shirt to support her going to the CrossFit Games. DM her on Instagram if you're interested. There's pictures out there on her Instagram. Make sure you do that. With that being said, if you have those goofy pictures from back in the day in your neon, in your tall socks, post them, tag us on Instagram, and we will share those. And we will put some of our own out there as well. And we'll put out the leaderboard stuff and comment all you want on that. With that, we'll see you next time on Sunday Night CrossFit Talk. Bye, guys.